Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Time to Draw with Mr. Shaw. Today, we're going to be drawing pirates, one of my favorite things in the whole world to draw. Now, to draw a pirate today, all you need is a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, a crayon, anything to draw with, and anything to draw on. And we're actually going to be drawing, hopefully, a whole bunch of pirates later. But let me get you started with some basics. If you get stuck while we're drawing, feel free to pause the video, rewind it, try it again if you need to, flip your paper over if you need to. Hopefully you've got some erasers at home. But one of the first things I want to do is get started with some simple body shapes. Now, those of you who take my art class at the Henry Johnson Charter School know that when we draw the figure, we want to make sure we have all the body parts, and we want to start out with simple shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do over here on the side of my paper is I'm going to start with just the simple shapes of my pirate. I'm going to start with an oval for the head. Those of you who are in my class might remember my mannequin Wooden Steve. He's not here with me to help us draw these parts, but we'll start out with just some basic shapes. We'll give him a little square for his neck and a rectangle shaped body, followed by legs. Now for his leg shapes, we want to break them up into two ovals for the top part of the leg, the thighs, and then two smaller, thinner ovals for the bottom parts of his legs. Those are where the shins in the front, that's that bone, and the calf muscles in the back. Then I'm going to draw his feet. I'm going to give him two triangle-shaped feet, coming forward a little bit by going down, but pointed to the sides. He's just kind of standing here for now. Now for his arms, I'm going to break those up into two shapes just like the leg. We're going to do an oval for the upper arm, and then an oval again for the bottom part of the arm, that's your forearm, followed by just a circle shape for the hand. And we can add some details later, but we just want to block in how our person is standing. Now if I want, he could be standing just straight up and down like this, or we'll have him give us a little wave. So I'm going to draw a little oval going off to the side this time, and then the forearm, the bottom part of your arm, is going to be up with a little circle here. So right now, I could turn this into any kind of character I want. I could turn it into Batman, I could turn it into Wonder Woman, I could turn it into a person I know or a person I've made up. Today, we're going to add details to this to make him look kind of like a pirate captain. So one of the first things I like to start with is the hat. I'm going to draw a straight line right across his head, kind of near the top, and I'm going to draw three semicircles, three bumps, two on the sides, two smaller ones, and one larger one in the middle. Now that larger bump in the middle, inside of that, kind of touching the top of that head shape, I'm going to draw a circle with two colored in circles inside of that, and then two little tiny circles. Some of you might notice I'm drawing a skull here. Then I'm going to use that line from the top of the head, draw a little square underneath it with two lines. And then I'm going to color the whole hat in except for that little skull that I've just drawn. Now already he's starting to look like a pirate. So that's a pretty good start. Now I'm going to work my way down to his eyes. Now the pirate that I'm going to be drawing will be kind of a grumpy one. So I'm going to give him a downturned eye with a diagonal line. I'm going to draw a little circle inside of it and give him a nice thick eyebrow. Now, a lot of the pirates that I like to draw often have an eye patch. So on the other side, I could draw an eye just like this, or I can draw a circle, color it in, and then give him a strap going up under his hat and then down around the side of his face. Now I could give that pirate another eyebrow here. I could leave it blank depending on how he lost that eye, I suppose. And then I'm going to give him a nose. I want to give him a big, broad nose. So I'm going to draw a curved line. It looks like a lowercase u. And now I want him to have a big, full, bushy beard. So starting right under the nose with his mustache, I'm just going to draw a curved line going right around his cheek all the way up into his hat. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just a little bumpy line going right around his cheeks up under his hat. Then starting in that same place, I'm going to bring a nice bumpy line all the way around to give him a nice bushy beard. Now if I end up covering up my neck, that's totally fine. He could have a nice big bushy beard. And I can still see a little bit of my head and my neck in there. So I'm going to erase that. If you have an eraser, you can do that. And then I can give him a nice mouth. Now I could have his mouth open. He could be yelling orders to his crew. I could give him a big smile if I want to, or I could give him a frown. I think I'll have him just frowning slightly like this. And I'm just going to add a little bit of texture down at the ends of his mouth to make it look like a mustache. And I'll draw a little bit of his lip peeking out from those hairs here with some little lines on the sides to show that that's a big, bushy, hairy beard. Ooh, he looks a little bit like me. He's a handsome fella. So now I'm going to have his ears peeking out on the sides here and here. And then I'm going to start drawing his body, some of his pirate outfit. I'm going to start right under his chin here, his big bushy beard, and I'm going to draw a nice long letter V, kind of like that. Now, this is going to look kind of like a suit jacket. A lot of pictures we see of people from the time period that pirates are famous for dress a little bit more formally. That means a little fancier than we do today. So along the sides of his jacket, that V, I'm going to do kind of a long stretched out W. You can see it if I turn my paper sideways. It looks kind of like a W that's been stretched out, touching all the way down by his beard and then all the way down to the end of that V we just drew. And I'll do that on both sides. I'll do another long stretched out W here. They almost look like two triangle shaped mountains. Then right down here where his shirt is, I'm going to draw some curved lines all the way down the middle of that V, making it look like he's wearing a striped shirt underneath his captain's jacket. So now at the bottom of that V, I'm going to continue downward and give him 2 or 3 big buttons to hold his jacket together. And then I'm going to do 2 diagonal lines at the bottom of his jacket. I want it to hang down over the top of his pants a little bit. He would want to wear a long jacket, maybe a waterproof one since he's living on the ocean. And then I can darken the edges of that jacket. If you want to give that jacket some pockets, that's a good detail to add. Or maybe he's been out on the sea for a long time and he has some pieces of his jacket that have had to been patched, which is pretty easy to do with some squares with little lines of thread where it might have been sewn back up and patched. Now on this side, I'm going to darken the sides of his jacket. I'm going to add little wrinkles in the elbow, just little diagonal lines coming from the place of the elbow where your arm bends. And then I'm going to give the bottom of his sleeve here a little cuff like this with a little circle for a cuff link. And then I can draw the rest of his hand. We already have the basic shape of the hand, so I can just give him some fingers. I can have a thumb, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. But when I move to the other side here, I'm going to get a little tricky. So I'm going to draw his jacket. When your arm is bent like this, if you're wearing a jacket, you would have wrinkles coming from where that bends. So his arm is bending here at the armpit, so I can draw some diagonal lines coming out. Same with the elbow here. I can draw some little diagonal lines just showing that that cloth is bending. Then I can draw that rectangle shaped cuff, a little circular cuff link. But this time I'm going to get tricky with the hand. I'm not going to draw any fingers. I'm just going to trace that circle, and I'm going to give him a little hook. He's given us a little hook hello, a little wave. Then down here at the bottom, I'm going to draw his pants. So I'm going to trace the shape of his legs coming down. I can have some little wrinkles here in the knee where his pants might bend a little bit. And then I'm going to draw a boot. For his boot, I'm going to give him a straight line here, 2 straight lines on the side, and then kind of like an upside down letter V to give his boot a little cuff, kind of a classic look. I'm going to darken these lines, and I'm going to give my captain a little heel. So I'm just going to go past my triangle a little bit, curve it around, and then I'll trace the rest of that foot. Now, if I want to, I could even add 2 squares to give him a little buckle on his boot. That looks a little more authentic. But I'm going to do something tricky over here on this side. Some of you might already be thinking this. I'm only going to go about halfway down with that leg. I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to erase the bottom. This unlucky fellow has already lost an arm, so I'm going to let him lose a leg as well. I'm going to draw a little square where his knee would be, followed by another square, and just a little peg leg, a little rectangle coming down. That's a pretty good pirate captain. Now, if you want to add a couple of extra details, he could always have a parrot sitting on his shoulder. I like to draw parrots by drawing a circle for the head and then an oval for his body. Parrots have that hook-shaped beak, so you can draw two curved lines like this, connect it with a little curve, give him some little eyes, maybe some feathers on top of his head. I like to draw just one wing. Maybe the parrot is sitting sideways, a little bit of his tail back here, and you can just draw little lines on the captain's shoulder. And perhaps your parrot is saying squawk or repeating something. But this is a pretty good pirate captain. But that's not all I could do with it. Pirates don't have to just be standing straight like this. And they don't have to be an old bearded man. If you want to draw more types of pirates, you can start out with those same shapes, those heads, those necks, that rectangle shaped body. I can have the arms and legs going in any direction I want. And when I add the details of my pirate character, they don't have to look exactly like this guy. They don't have to have a hook hand every time. They don't even have to be a man every time. I can make a wonderful pirate character. Maybe she has a headband. Maybe she has long black locks. But I could make a female character. She's a woman pirate. And maybe instead of the black jacket, maybe she has a fluffy shirt that's cinched down at the ends. Maybe she has a wide red sash around her belt. And she could be holding a telescope so that she can see where her ship is going while they're sailing around the ocean. She could still be wearing some pretty fierce boots, some heels here. But I could draw any kind of pirate in any shape I want. Now, if you'd like to practice your pirates, if you'd like to draw, well, I don't know, maybe some old pirates wearing glasses. Maybe this guy's a little bald, missing some teeth. But he could still wear his stripy pirate shirt and go out on the high seas doing his thing. You could draw them any shape, any size. But here's a fun idea for an extension. When you're thinking about a setting for your pirates, and you could do this on a new piece of paper. I like to flip over my paper to draw new things. Start with a blank piece of paper and draw two lines going horizontally. That means side to side all the way across your paper. Then down at the bottom, I'm just going to draw some curvy lines to look like waves of the ocean. I'm going to draw a pirate ship already out on sea. To make it look more like a ship, I can draw sets of two circles that look like portholes. Those are kind of like windows on a ship so that people down below in the lower decks can see outside. I could even do a pattern of lines going across to make my ship look like it's made of wood. Then I'll draw a couple of vertical lines, some short up and down lines to make it look like these are planks, like this whole boat has been nailed together out of pieces of wood. If you want your boat to be more detailed, I could make almost like a tiny building with the captain's quarters, maybe a door here with a handle on it. And then a really important part of a pirate sailing ship is called the mast. That's a large pole in the middle of the ship with ropes hanging from it. The sail hangs from that, and that helps the ship go. But once I have my boat setting, if I'd like to add a sun, maybe some clouds in the sky, this is the perfect chance to practice drawing all the different kinds of pirates you want to add. Maybe you have that ship captain with that big bushy beard yelling at the other crew members, telling them to move faster. Oh, give him a little, this fist in the air. Arr, mateys, row the boat faster. And then you could fill the whole rest of your ship with as many pirates as you want, as many characters as you could fit. They don't even all have to be pirates. Maybe Batman's aboard the ship. Whatever you do after this is totally up to you. But whatever you do end up drawing, please take a picture of it. If you're a Henry Johnson Charter School scholar, send it to me on Class Dojo. If you're just watching this on YouTube, feel free to comment in the comments section. Tell me something you'd like to learn how to draw, and I'll try to get it into the next video. Everybody stay safe out there, wash your hands, and I'll see you next time.